Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Praveen and you are watching Techie Praveen. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is REST API architecture. So in this video, we're going to talk about in detail that how exactly REST API works, what are the key concepts, what are the REST architecture, how can we create it, and what are the benefits of using REST API over SOAP API. So let's get started. So first is we have a client server architecture. So the system is divided into two distinct entities, that is client and a server. So in the previous video, we have already talked about how exactly what is API and how exactly it works. So basically, API works in between user and the application, and the user means your client, and application is your server. So the API is works between client and the server. So the second point is the client is responsible for the user interface and interactions, while the server manages the resources and business logic. So the client is basically responsible. Basically, the client is like sending a request to the server, and server is dealing with all the functionalities, and they are providing the response. Okay, they are providing the response to the client. Both communicate via HTTP requests and responses, making HTTPIs platform agnostic. So basically, both these things, sending requests, receiving response, are moving via HTTP request. Let's talk about what is statelessness. So each API request from a client to a service must contain all the information needed to understand and process a request. Example: authentication and credentials. So whenever we are sending a request to a server, it requires some authentication, right? So like we have basic authentication, we have auth 1.0, 2.0, we have a bearer token, we have JWT token. So we have a multiple methods of authentication. We will going to learn in the next video. So each API request must contain these type of information uh, that your machine, your server require to provide the response. The server does not store any client context between requests, making such request independent. So the server itself do not store any client information like which client is sending the response or whatever it is. It's working as a independent request. Every request is an independent request. This improves scalability as a server doesn't need to remember previous requests. So that is the reason that it improves the scalability, that the server does not need to store any information about the request. Cacheability. So responses from a server can be marked as cacheable or non-cacheable. So the response that is coming from a server will be marked as a cacheable or non-cacheable. If your response is cacheable, then the client can store it and reuse it for future requests, improving performances and reducing load on the server. So if there will be two type of responses that we will be receiving from the server, that is one is cacheable and another one is non-cacheable. So if the response is cacheable, it can be stored for the future uses, or which improve the performance and reducing the loss, sending again to receive the information. Where if we have a cacheable response, so we can store it and use it for the future use. Then we have a uniform interface. So a uniform interface between the client and server simplifies interaction and decouple them. So basically, whenever a client and a server interact via HTTP request, that is the REST API. So it uses decouples them. So basically, it transfer the information in a uniform interface. This is achieved by using standard HTTP methods, convention for URIs, and media types for data representation. The four core HTTP methods used in REST are get, post, put, delete. So basically, uniform interface means it is further divided into different type of requests. So we have a get request which you use to retrieve the information from a server without modifying it. Post means submitting data to a server to create some new resources. Put means update or replace any existing resource on a server, and delete means removal of a resource from a server. So we're using these type of things to communicate with the server. Layered system. So REST API uses layered system. The system can be composed of multiple layers, that is load balancer, caching server, etc. That communicates without the client being aware of the specific layers of each layer. So basically, it's kind of a hiding things that the load balancer, cache balancing, and other services will be transferring from the client to the server without being actually showing the each requirement of a services that we means no client will aware about that these layers are being communicated. This promotes scalability and security as each layer can be independent managed. So which increases the scalability and security because each layer is independently managed. So people will only other hits, other requests will not be dependent on each others. Code on demand, that is optional. The server can provide executable code such as JavaScript to the client, allowing for the client side logic to the download and execute it. This is only optional constantly rested and is rarely used in practice. Okay, so we can also use JavaScript to provide or communicate while using client side to provide some client side logic to download it and execute it. Means you can use JavaScript to interact with the client side or providing more information to the server. Now let's talk about the RESTful API design principle. So we have, if you talk about the REST API architecture, so it comes with client server architecture, means we have a client and server. So these things we communicated. Statelessness means it always requires authentications and it having the information that for each request we can provide authentication or authorizations via request to the server to get the information. Can we have a cacheability? We can use cacheable or non-cacheable APIs, depends on our requirement. And then we have a uniform interface, we have a layered, and we have code on demand, which is optional. If you want to use it, you can use, otherwise that will be okay. Now let's talk about the RESTful API design principles. So every API is actually using some design principles. So in RESTful, we are also following some type of design principles. So in resource, we have a multiple type of things. So let's talk about one by one. So we have resource identifications. So we have resource in a RESTful API are identified using URI. So basically in API REST API we have URI, URL, and URN. We'll talk about these things in detail. So URI means Uniform Resource Identifier. Resources can be objects as a user books, for example. Get, for example, you can take get user, get a list of user, get user, and then providing the ID will get the specific ID. Post users, post if you're using post call and providing some user, it will create a new user. Post user ID, it will going to create a put user ID, it will going to update a particular ID. If you want to delete a particular ID, then you can use delete user IDs. We have a multiple HTTP status codes like 200, 201, 404. So we have a multiple type of status code we have. Whenever we are sending a request to the server, server will send you a response along with the status code so that we can easily identify the result of a API, that what will be the problem or what is the issue. So in HTTP request is a very important concept. So I will explain you. Uh, so we have a multiple series, like we have one XX, we have two double X, we have three double X, four double X, or five double X. Okay, so the one X is used for informational, two is for OK information, three is for redirectional, four is for server side issues, and five is for client server interactions. So we have a CRUD operations. CRUD operations means create, read, update, and delete. So we can use multiple requests to perform CRUD application. Right? We can use post to create a new source. We can use get call to retrieve information. We can use put or patch to update particular information, and we can use delete to delete a resource. Okay, so let's talk about the example of RESTful API. So let's say we are building an API just for a book collection. So we have a get books to retrieve all information. We have get books ID to retrieve a particular books with a particular ID. We have a post book, so we can create or add a new collection of a particular book. We can use put books particular ID to update a particular books items, or we can use, if you want to delete all books, you can use delete books to delete all the information related to books. Or if you want to delete a particular ID, you can provide a ID, right? So this is for this, and let's talk about the HTTP request in detail. So if you're searching Wikipedia page, which is a list of HTTPS code, so you can directly search on the Google that what is the uh, HTTPS code, status code. So you will get this Wikipedia page. This page itself is enough to explain you the detailed concept of HTTP. So here, if you go down, scroll down, you will get one double X means the status code are divided into five different sections. That is one double X, two double X, three double X, four double X, and five double X. One double X means information responses. The client was received continuing process. Two double X means the request was successfully received, understood, and accepted. Three double X means redirectional, that further action needs to be taken in order to complete the request. Four double X means client error. The request contains bad syntax or cannot be fulfilled. Five double X server means the server failed to fulfill an apparently valid request. So you can directly go to this page and learn all these status code, because all these status code are very important because you are going to use it on a daily basis. You will going to see multiple status code on a daily basis. And now, an information. Let's talk about some common status code. So, if you scroll down and closely observe that we have one double S information responses, which have 100 means continue, 101 means switching protocols, 102 means processing, 103 means early hints, two double S, which is very common. If you successfully using get request, you will get the 200 response as 200. Okay, 201 is created. So whenever you are going to use post request, it will going to create a new resource on the server, and it will throw a status code that is 201. 202 accepted, non-authentic information, non-content, these type of things you can use it. CWS means redirectional. So if the things is redirectional to a new further actions, so it will going to throw you 301. So that this is the beauty of a REST API, that whenever you are sending a request to a server, it will always give you a status code, whether your hit is successful or not, whether you are going to receive a response or not. It will always give you a status code, so that you can easily understand that what is the exact problem, or you can easily debug it. That is the reason most of the companies are using REST API, because it's very easy to understand and very easy to use. And now, if you scroll down, you will get a client 4XX, 400 bad requests, 401 unauthorized. Whenever you are trying to access some application with a wrong username or password, then you will going to get 401. 402 means payment required, 403 forbidden, 404 not found. I think you have already seen 404 in multiple, you will 404 multiple website. If some website is not working or that page is not currently present, it will go to throw you 404. And if you come with scroll down, you will get 5 double X means if 500 means internal server error. If the server is not working, then you will get 500. 501 means not implemented. 502 means bad gateway. 503 is service unavailable. So these type of 400 series, 200 series, and 500 series, starting 4 to 5 codes are very common and can be easily seen in daily life. Okay, so this is only for this video. I hope you like the video and you like my teaching style. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. And if you are facing any issue in understanding any thing in testing, please do let me know in the comment section. I will try to create a separate video for you to solve your problem. Thank you. Thanks a lot.